Hello, everyone. I'm Natasha, your host for today. And if you're new here, I want to let you know that we upload a brand new English learning video every single day to help you improve your English listening, speaking, and overall fluency faster. In today's episode, you're going to take a big step toward becoming a more confident and more fluent English speaker. This lesson is a complete B1, B2 level advanced English listening and speaking practice masterclass. And throughout this session, you'll learn advanced English phrases, real daily life expressions, and essential vocabulary that you can use immediately in your conversations to sound clearer, more natural, and more fluent. We'll go through real-life speaking examples, guided practice exercises, and everyday situations where advanced vocabulary and phrases help you express yourself more confidently. You'll train your listening skills with natural English rhythm and intonation, and you'll practice speaking along with me to strengthen your fluency, pronunciation, and active vocabulary. By the end of this video, you'll not only understand these advanced English phrases more deeply, but you'll also be able to use them naturally in daily conversations, whether you're speaking with friends, colleagues, or in more formal situations. You are going to grow your vocabulary, sharpen your listening, and become a more confident communicator. Before we begin, make sure to subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon if you want more helpful English learning lessons like this. So, settle in, relax, and get ready to improve your English with me. Let's get started. As we begin this lesson, I want you to take a slow, deep breath and simply allow yourself to settle into the rhythm of English. One of the most powerful ways to improve your English is to listen to natural speech, absorb the patterns, and then practice speaking along with it. So as I speak, let your mind follow the flow of the language. Notice the structure of the sentences, and whenever you feel ready, repeat after me in your own voice. This small habit changes everything, because the more you hear English, the more naturally you begin to think in English too. And that is what slowly transforms you into a fluent speaker. Today, we're going to explore advanced phrases and vocabulary, but we're also going to focus on how to use them in real daily life conversations, because fluency grows from real context, not memorized lists. Think of this lesson as a long, gentle conversation between you and me, where you are strengthening your understanding of English one moment at a time. Let's start with something simple, yet incredibly useful: thinking before speaking, but thinking in English. At the B1, B2 level, students often know many words, but they still hesitate when speaking because their brain tries to translate from their native language first. This slows you down and makes conversations feel stressful. So let me guide you through a small exercise. Imagine you wake up in the morning and you're getting ready for your day. Instead of thinking, "I need to brush my teeth," in your first language, say it to yourself in English. Whisper it if you want. "I'm brushing my teeth. I'm getting ready for the day. I feel a bit sleepy." The more you practice describing your world in English, the more fluent you become. This is called internal narration, and it's something highly fluent speakers do naturally. So I want you to try this right now. Look around your room, notice 3 things, and describe one of them in English. Don't worry about being perfect, just speak. Maybe you see a window, and you think, "The light is coming in. It feels warm." That's English fluency growing in real time. Now, let's bring in some advanced phrases that you can use in real conversations. For example, when you want to express that something is not exactly what someone thinks, you can say, "It's not quite what it seems." Repeat that slowly. It's not quite what it seems. This phrase helps you sound more precise, more natural, and more confident. Imagine someone asks you about your job and says, "Oh, it must be very easy." You can respond gently, "Well, it's not quite what it seems. There's a lot of work behind the scenes." Advanced English is not about complicated vocabulary. It's about the ability to express nuance, detail, and perspective. And nuance is what separates basic speaking from fluent communication. Another powerful phrase you will hear advanced English speakers use is, "I've been meaning to." This expression shows intention and a plan you've had for some time. For example, "I've been meaning to start practicing English every morning." Or, "I've been meaning to call you." This phrase sounds natural, warm, and very commonly used in daily life. So let's practice it. Say it after me softly. "I've been meaning to improve my English speaking." "I've been meaning to watch more English content." "I've been meaning to practice my pronunciation." Let these sentences flow. Don't analyze them. Let them become part of your natural speaking rhythm. Now let's imagine a real-life scenario. You are meeting a friend for coffee after a long time. You want to explain that life has been busy, and you haven't had time to relax. Instead of basic English like, "I was busy with work," you can say, "Things have been a bit overwhelming lately, but I'm finally catching my breath." This is advanced B1, B2 phrasing. It expresses emotion, situation, and intention all together. So let's practice. Repeat. "Things have been a bit overwhelming lately, but I'm finally catching my breath." If this sentence feels long, that's okay. The more you repeat it, the more your mouth and mind get used to the rhythm of advanced English. Fluency is not just about vocabulary. It's about rhythm, pacing, and delivery. Now let's work with another advanced expression. "I'm trying to get a better handle on." This phrase means you're trying to understand something more clearly or manage it more effectively. For example, "I'm trying to get a better handle on my schedule," or "I'm trying to get a better handle on English phrasal verbs." This is a phrase native speakers use all the time, and it makes your speech sound mature and expressive. So try it yourself. Say, "I'm trying to get a better handle on my English speaking practice." Feel how natural it sounds. When you use expressions like these in daily life, people immediately notice the improvement in your fluency. Now let's go deeper into listening practice. Listening is not just about hearing sounds. It's about catching meaning, rhythm, and intention. When you hear someone say, "I'm a bit under the weather today," they're not talking about the weather at all. It means they feel slightly sick. When they say, "I'm swamped," it means they are extremely busy. When they say, "I'm on the fence," it means they haven't decided yet. These expressions are essential for understanding daily English because native speakers use them constantly. So, let's practice understanding them in context. Imagine your coworker says, "I'd love to help, but I'm really swamped today." You immediately know they're too busy. Or your friend says, "I'm on the fence about going to the party." You know they're unsure. These are the building blocks of real fluency. Let's expand your vocabulary further with some advanced words that sound natural in conversation. For example, the word versatile means something that can be used in many different ways. You can say, English is a versatile language, or this tool is very versatile. Another word is essential. This means something is necessary or very important. You can say, practicing every day is essential for fluency. Repeat after me. Practicing every day is essential. These words help you communicate more clearly and precisely in conversations. Another advanced word you should know is inevitable, which means something that is certain to happen. For example, with practice, improvement is inevitable. This word helps you express confidence and certainty, so say it aloud slowly. Improvement is inevitable, and truly, it is. When you practice daily, you will improve. It's only a matter of time. Let's bring in more advanced daily life examples. Imagine you're talking about a project at work. Instead of saying, it was difficult, you can say, it was a bit challenging, but I managed to get through it. Or instead of saying, I don't understand, you can say, I'm not entirely clear on that, or could you clarify that for me? These small changes make your English sound much more mature and natural. Now, let's do a speaking exercise together. I'll describe a situation, and you respond in English using the phrases we've learned. Imagine your friend asks you, how has your week been? Your natural advanced answer could be, it's been a bit overwhelming, but I'm trying to get a better handle on things. Say it after me. Let it feel natural. Don't try to memorize. Just experience the flow of the sentence. Another situation. Someone asks you if you've started a new project you were planning. You say, I've been meaning to start it, but I haven't found the right moment yet. Repeat it slowly. Feel the rhythm. These exercises train your speaking muscles and your brain to form advanced sentences without hesitation. Now let's shift into vocabulary awareness. In English, the same word can have multiple meanings depending on the context. For example, the word catch can mean to physically catch something, like a ball, but it can also mean to understand something. When someone says, did you catch that? They mean, did you understand it? When someone says, I didn't catch your name, they're asking you to repeat it. This flexibility is what makes English both beautiful and challenging. But the more you hear it, the easier it becomes. Let's practice with the word hold. You can hold a cup, but you can also hold a conversation, hold your breath, hold a meeting, or hold on to hope. Words in English open up once you start recognizing these patterns. That's why listening practice is essential. It helps you understand how words behave in natural contexts. Now, I want to take you through a small visualization exercise. Imagine yourself in a conversation with someone you admire. They ask you about your goals for learning English. Instead of giving a short, basic answer, imagine yourself speaking confidently. You say, I want to express myself more naturally, and I'm trying to get a better handle on advanced vocabulary. Hear yourself saying it. Feel the confidence behind the words. When you imagine yourself speaking fluently, your brain starts creating the patterns that make fluency real. Visualization is not magic. It's psychology, and it works. Let's continue with more advanced phrases. When you want to express that something is very easy, you can say, "It's a breeze." For example, once you understand the concept, the rest is a breeze. When you want to say something is extremely difficult, you can say, "It's an uphill battle." These two phrases help you describe challenges and successes in a more expressive way. Let's now create a short conversation using these phrases. You, how's your English practice going? Your friend, honestly, it's been an uphill battle, but I'm slowly improving. You, that's great to hear. With the right methods, it becomes a breeze over time. Repeat this short exchange. Don't worry about sounding perfect. Just feel the natural rhythm. Now let's talk about pronunciation awareness. At the B1, B2 level, one of the biggest challenges learners face is blending sounds smoothly. For example, when you say, "I've been meaning to," the words flow together like one long phrase. Instead of saying each word separately, native speakers connect the sounds. So try it with me slowly. I've been meaning to. Now say it faster. I've been meaning to. Feel how the sounds connect. Practicing this connection helps you sound more fluent and natural. Another example is the phrase, "I'm trying to." When spoken naturally, it becomes, "I'm tryna." So say it slowly, "I'm trying to," then say it naturally, "I'm tryna." This is not incorrect. It's simply how real daily life English sounds. Training your ear to hear this helps you understand native speakers more easily. Let's bring in more advanced vocabulary. The word resilient means someone who recovers quickly from difficulty. You can say, "She is very resilient," or "Learning a language makes you more resilient." Another useful word is consistent, which means doing something regularly without stopping. And truly, consistency is the heart of fluency. Practicing English every day, even for 5 minutes, makes a huge difference. Now, let's create another speaking prompt. Imagine someone asks you how you're improving your English. You respond naturally. "I'm trying to stay consistent, and I've been meaning to practice speaking every morning." This is how fluent English speakers talk. So say the sentence slowly, then again naturally. Another expression we should practice is, "for the most part." This means generally or mostly. For example, "For the most part, I enjoy learning English." Repeat it, "for the most part." This phrase helps you express your thoughts with more precision. Let's continue with daily life vocabulary. Imagine you're discussing your schedule. Instead of saying, "My schedule is very busy," you can say, "My schedule is pretty packed this week." Packed means full, and it's a very natural way to sound more advanced. Now try it. "My schedule is pretty packed this week." We can also use the phrase, "at the end of the day," which means, when everything is considered. For example, "At the end of the day, what matters most is consistent practice." Repeat it. This is a phrase people use all the time in real conversations. Now, let's do another guided speaking practice. I'll say a sentence, and you repeat it after me. "I want to feel more confident in English." "I'm trying to get a better handle on advanced vocabulary." "I've been meaning to practice more often." "Things have been a bit overwhelming, but I'm catching my breath." At the end of the day, improvement is inevitable. Say each sentence slowly, Then say them again in a natural flow. This repetition is not boring. It's how your brain forms the patterns of fluency. Now, let's build your listening comprehension with a short story written at a B2 level. Imagine you are preparing for an important meeting at work. You wake up early, make a cup of coffee, and try to organize your thoughts. You say to yourself, "I'm trying to get a better handle on everything I want to say." As the meeting begins, one of your colleagues asks a question you weren't expecting. For a moment, you feel overwhelmed, but then you take a breath and say, "That's not quite what it seems. Let me explain." Your colleague nods, understanding your point. After the meeting, you feel relieved and think, "I managed to get through that. It wasn't a breeze, but I did it." This small story shows you how advanced English expressions appear naturally in daily situations. Now you say these lines yourself. Imagine you're in that meeting. Repeat, "That's not quite what it seems. Let me explain." Then say, "I managed to get through that." Feel how strong that sentence is. It communicates confidence, clarity, and resilience. We'll continue building on this foundation as the lesson grows longer and deeper. Every sentence you repeat, every phrase you notice, every rhythm you absorb, is shaping your fluency. I want you to trust this process and allow English to feel natural, not stressful. The more you relax, the more your brain absorbs. As we continue, I want you to imagine yourself becoming more confident with every sentence you hear. Fluency isn't something that happens suddenly. It grows quietly, gently, and consistently through moments like this. Moments where you listen deeply, repeat softly, and allow your mind to reshape how it understands English. One of the most powerful tools you can develop at the B1, B2 level is awareness. Awareness of how sentences are built, how expressions carry meaning, and how your mind begins connecting thoughts in English without translating. And the more you practice in a calm, steady rhythm, the more fluent you become. So let your attention follow my voice naturally, without forcing anything. English becomes much easier when you stop trying to push it, and instead start allowing it. Now let's build in the expressions we explored earlier by integrating them into longer, more realistic daily life situations. Imagine you're on your way to work or school, and someone asks how things have been going lately. Instead of responding with something simple like, "Everything is fine," you can express yourself more clearly and naturally by saying, "Things have been a little hectic, but I'm trying to stay on top of everything." Repeat that slowly. "Things have been a little hectic, but I'm trying to stay on top of everything." This phrase, "stay on top of everything," means to manage, to control, to handle things responsibly. It's a phrase native speakers use constantly, and it immediately makes your English sound more advanced and precise. Let's expand this further. Sometimes you want to show that you're working towards something. Even if you're not perfect at it yet, you can say, "I'm still figuring things out." Repeat that slowly. "I'm still figuring things out." This phrase communicates progress, honesty, and understanding. It's perfect for conversations about work, relationships, learning English, or anything that takes time. If your friend asks how your English practice is going, you can respond, "I'm still figuring things out, but I feel like I'm making progress." This sounds natural, confident, and open. A very B2 level expression. Now let's practice more advanced vocabulary through context. The word gradually means slowly, step by step, over time. Try this sentence. I'm gradually becoming more comfortable speaking English. Say it again, but more naturally, using words like gradually, eventually, slightly, considerably, significantly, makes your English richer and more expressive. These words help you show not just what happened, but how it happened. Another useful word is adjust. To adjust means to change something slightly to make it better. For example, I had to adjust my routine to make more time for English practice. Try saying that. Adjust my routine. This word is extremely common in daily life because we constantly adjust our schedules, habits, and expectations. Let's try another expression. It caught me off guard. This phrase means something surprised you. If someone asks a question you weren't prepared for, you can say, "That question caught me off guard." Or if something unexpected happened at work, "The sudden change caught everyone off guard." This expression is used in everyday English, and using it will help you communicate reactions more naturally. Now let's move into a guided speaking practice. I'll create situations, and you'll respond using advanced phrases. Imagine your colleague says, "Did you expect that change at work?" Your response could be, "Not at all. It really caught me off guard." Repeat it gently. Now imagine your friend asks, "How is your English practice going?" You respond, "I'm gradually getting more comfortable. I'm still figuring things out, but I'm improving." These sentences train your fluency by reinforcing natural patterns. Let's explore another powerful phrase. I'm working on it. This expression communicates effort without pressure. If someone says, "Your pronunciation sounds better," you can respond, "Thanks, I'm working on it." If someone asks, "Are you feeling more confident speaking English?" you can say, "Yes, I'm working on it, and it's getting easier." This phrase is friendly, humble, and very natural. Now let's build longer, more complex sentences using the expressions you've learned. Repeat this one. I've been meaning to practice more consistently, but my schedule has been packed, so I'm gradually adjusting my routine. This type of sentence is exactly what fluent speakers use. It includes time phrases, natural connectors, and realistic vocabulary. Say it again. At a natural pace, rhythm, flow, and confidence matter more than perfection. Let's add another phrase. It makes a huge difference. This means something has a strong positive effect. For example, practicing English every day, even for a few minutes, makes a huge difference. Or, shadowing conversations makes a huge difference in fluency. Repeat. It makes a huge difference. Now let's practice pronunciation and rhythm. When native speakers talk, they connect sounds smoothly. For example, "I'm working on it" sounds like "I'm working on it." Try saying it. Another example, "I've been meaning to practice" becomes "I've been meanin' to practice." Listen, repeat, and allow the sounds to blend naturally. Fluency is about comfort, not speed. Now let's add more advanced vocabulary. The word prioritize means to decide what's most important. Try this sentence. I'm trying to prioritize my English practice. Repeat it. Prioritize. Another useful word is inefficient. It means something doesn't work well or wastes time. For example, translating every sentence in your head is inefficient. It slows down your fluency. Repeat it slowly. Let's practice real-life situations. If someone asks how you manage your time, instead of saying, "I don't have time," you can say, "I'm trying to prioritize better, but it's a work in progress." Say it slowly. It's a work in progress. Let's shift to listening training. Imagine you're preparing for an important presentation. You've organized your notes, practiced your opening lines, and adjusted your tone to sound confident. But as the moment gets closer, you feel slightly overwhelmed. You take a breath and remind yourself, "I've been working on this for days. I'm more prepared than I think." During the presentation, someone asks a question that catches you off guard. You pause, collect your thoughts, and say, "I'm still figuring out the details, but here's what I know so far." After the meeting, you feel relieved and proud because you managed to express yourself clearly, even under pressure. Now repeat some key lines. "I'm more prepared than I think." "I'm still figuring out the details." "I managed to express myself clearly." These lines build confidence and fluency. Now let's explore more advanced expressions. To some extent means partly. For example, "I understand the concept to some extent, but I need more practice." Repeat it. Another phrase is "fair enough." This means you understand someone's point. Simple, natural, and very common. Here's a short dialogue. Person A: "Learning English takes a long time." You: "True, but improvement is inevitable if you stay consistent." Person A: "I understand grammar to some extent, but speaking is harder." You: "Fair enough. Speaking takes time, but practicing every day makes a huge difference." Now let's build vocabulary. Anticipate means to expect something. Repeat. "I didn't anticipate how challenging it would be to speak confidently." Reliable means dependable. Repeat. Shadowing is a reliable method for improving fluency. Now imagine explaining your progress to a teacher. Instead of saying, "I am improving," you can say, "I can feel myself improving gradually, and I didn't anticipate how much confidence I would gain." Here's another useful phrase. "I'm getting the hang of it." It means you're starting to understand something. Repeat slowly. "I'm getting the hang of it." Now imagine a real situation. On a video call, someone asks how your English practice has been. You say, "I've been meaning to practice more, but my schedule has been pretty packed. Still, I'm gradually getting the hang of it, and it makes a huge difference." Pronunciation practice. Repeat. "Pretty packed." Again, "pretty packed." Now, "getting the hang of it." Now, let's add emotional vocabulary. Motivated. Determined. Repeat. "I feel motivated to improve my English." And, "I'm determined to speak English more confidently." Now another short listening story. You join a weekly English conversation group. At first, you feel nervous, but as the session begins, you realize you can follow the conversation to some extent. When someone asks for your opinion, you hesitate. Then say, "I'm still figuring out how to express myself clearly, but I'll give it a try." After the session, someone tells you, "You did well today. Keep going." You feel proud, because even though speaking caught you off guard at times, you managed to participate. Now repeat. "I'll give it a try." "I managed to participate." "I feel proud of my progress." Let's continue with a final speaking practice. Repeat softly, naturally. "I'm gradually becoming more fluent." I'm trying to prioritize English in my daily routine. I'm getting the hang of expressing myself more clearly. I didn't anticipate how much confidence I would gain. I'm determined to keep improving. Let these sentences settle into your mind. The more you say them, the more they become a part of your identity as an English speaker. As we move forward in this masterclass, I want you to feel how your mind is gradually becoming more comfortable with advanced English patterns. You're not just memorizing phrases, you're absorbing rhythm, tone, and expression. This is exactly how fluent speakers learn, through repetition, context, and emotional connection. The more you let English feel natural, the more fluent you become. Think of this session as a long, gentle walk through the language, where every step strengthens your confidence. There's no pressure here, no rush, just a smooth journey into deeper understanding. Now, let's introduce another powerful phrase that advanced speakers use often. I'm in the process of. This phrase is perfect for expressing ongoing actions or changes. For example, I'm in the process of improving my accent. Or, I'm in the process of reorganizing my routine. Try saying it slowly. I'm in the process of improving. This phrase sounds calm, confident, and realistic. You're not claiming perfection, but you're showing progress. And that's what fluent communication is all about. Let's place this phrase into a daily life situation. Imagine you're talking to a colleague about your English skills. You might say, I'm in the process of becoming more fluent, and practicing every day has made a huge difference. Repeat it gently. This shows humility and determination, which is exactly the tone native speakers use in conversations about learning or self-improvement. Now let's build vocabulary through emotional awareness. The word mindful means being aware and present. You can say, I'm trying to be more mindful of my English pronunciation. Another useful word is intentional, which means doing something with purpose. Try this sentence. I want to be more intentional with my speaking practice. Words like mindful and intentional bring depth to your language. They help you express thoughts and feelings in a richer way. Now let's practice a phrase that will help you communicate more clearly. I'd appreciate it if. This expression is polite, formal, and incredibly useful in daily conversations. For example, I'd appreciate it if you could explain that again. Or, I'd appreciate it if you corrected my pronunciation. Try repeating it slowly. I'd appreciate it if. This phrase helps you make requests politely and naturally. Let's explore more advanced vocabulary in a real-life example. Imagine you're at work discussing a team project. Instead of saying, I don't agree, you can say, I see where you're coming from, but I have a slightly different perspective. Repeat it. This sentence shows respect, understanding, and confidence, all essential for professional communication. The phrase I see where you're coming from means, I understand your point of view, and native speakers use it frequently to keep conversations warm and respectful. Now, let's add another powerful phrase. I'm open to suggestions. This phrase shows flexibility and willingness to learn. If you're in a conversation and someone offers feedback, you can say, Thanks. I'm open to suggestions. This expression makes you sound approachable and confident. Repeat it softly. I'm open to suggestions. Now let's expand your advanced vocabulary further. The word refine means to improve or make something better through small changes. You can refine your pronunciation, refine your writing, or refine your speaking style. Try this sentence. I want to refine my English fluency over time. Another useful word is clarity, which refers to how clear something is. You can say, I'm working on speaking with more clarity. Both refine and clarity are perfect for conversations about self-improvement. Now, let's move into a guided speaking exercise. I will give you a situation, and you respond using advanced language. Imagine your friend asks, How is your English practice going? You respond, I'm in the process of refining my speaking skills, and I'm trying to be more intentional with my practice. Say it slowly. Now, imagine someone at work asks whether you understood a complicated idea. You can respond, I see where you're coming from, but I'd appreciate it if you could clarify one part. Repeat it gently. These small conversations shape your confidence. Now let's train your listening with a deeper story. Imagine you've joined a study group to improve your English speaking. At first, you feel a little intimidated because everyone seems confident. But as the session begins, you realize that each person is also still figuring things out. You introduce yourself and say, I'm in the process of becoming more fluent, and I'm open to suggestions. The group smiles, and someone says, That's a great attitude. Throughout the session, you practice expressing your ideas. Sometimes you hesitate, sometimes you speak confidently, and sometimes you ask for clarification politely. When someone shares an opinion, you say, I see where you're coming from. By the end of the meeting, you feel more connected, more hopeful, and more prepared for future conversations. This is what real progress looks like. Now, repeat after me. I'm in the process of becoming more fluent. Then repeat, I'm open to suggestions. These phrases are powerful because they express growth and confidence. Now let's expand into expressive vocabulary. The word gradually is something we used earlier, but let's pair it with steadily. Steadily means continuously and consistently. Try saying, I'm gradually and steadily improving my English. Another advanced word is composure, which means calmness and self-control. You can say, I managed to maintain my composure during the conversation. Try repeating that. These words help you speak at a higher emotional and intellectual level. Let's continue with advanced phrases. A useful one is to a certain degree, which means partly or somewhat. For example, I understand this concept to a certain degree, but I'd appreciate it if you could explain it again. Repeat it slowly. This phrase is often used in academic or professional settings. Another powerful phrase is, That's a reasonable point. This is a polite way to acknowledge someone's opinion, especially if you don't fully agree. You can say, That's a reasonable point, but I have a different view. Repeat that. These expressions help you communicate confidently in discussions and debates. Now let's practice more real-life context. Imagine you're discussing a big decision with a friend. You want to express both understanding and disagreement. You might say, That's a reasonable point, and I see where you're coming from, but I'm not entirely convinced. Try repeating that. This is exactly how native speakers communicate nuance. Let's bring in another advanced vocabulary word. Overwhelming. It means too much to handle. You can say, Sometimes learning English feels overwhelming, but I'm trying to stay focused. Repeat it. overwhelming. Another useful word is manageable, which means something you can handle. Try saying, I want to make my learning routine more manageable. These words help you express challenges and solutions in a mature way. Now let's work with another phrase. I'd like to get your thoughts on this. This is a polite and advanced way to ask for someone's opinion. For example, I'd like to get your thoughts on my speaking practice. Repeat it slowly. This phrase is excellent for conversations in school, work, or language learning communities. Now let's shift into another guided story for listening practice. Imagine you're preparing for an important conversation with your manager. You feel slightly overwhelmed because you want to explain your ideas clearly. Before the meeting, you take a deep breath and tell yourself, I'm in the process of refining my communication skills. When the meeting begins, your manager presents a new project. You listen carefully and say, that's a reasonable point, and I'd like to get your thoughts on one part I'm not entirely clear about. Your manager appreciates your professionalism. Throughout the meeting, you maintain your composure, express your thoughts clearly, and respond with phrases like, I see where you're coming from, or fair enough. When the meeting ends, you feel proud because you communicated with confidence, patience, and authenticity. Now repeat after me. I'm refining my communication skills. Then repeat. I'd like to get your thoughts on this. These lines reinforce your ability to communicate politely and naturally. Now let's add another layer of advanced vocabulary. The word insightful describes something that shows deep understanding. You can say, that was an insightful comment. Another word is perspective, which means a particular point of view. You can say, I'd like to share my perspective. These words appear frequently in conversations where people discuss ideas, opinions, or experiences. Let's practice putting these words into context. Imagine you're in an English discussion group. After someone shares their opinion, you say, that's an insightful perspective. Repeat it. Then imagine someone asks for your opinion. You respond, from my perspective, consistent practice is essential for fluency. Try repeating that slowly. Now let's deepen your speaking skills with another powerful phrase. I'm starting to realize that. This expression helps you communicate personal growth and deeper understanding. For example, I'm starting to realize that fluency is more about confidence than perfection. Repeat it. This is a phrase you can use in emotional conversations, reflective discussions, or when sharing your learning journey. Now let's explore more advanced expressions. The phrase, it occurred to me that, means you suddenly realized something. Try saying, it occurred to me that I learn better when I relax. Repeat it softly. This is a natural, reflective expression used in storytelling and conversation. Now, let's create a longer speaking prompt integrating everything. I'm starting to realize that fluency improves when I speak without overthinking. It occurred to me that being mindful and intentional with my practice makes everything more manageable. Repeat this slowly. These sentences help you feel how advanced English flows together in a natural rhythm. Now, let's build your listening skills even more with a new story. Imagine you're attending a workshop on communication. The instructor talks about clarity, tone, and expression. As you listen, it occurs to you that you've been improving more than you realized. During a group activity, someone shares an insightful perspective about confidence. You respond politely, "That's a reasonable point, and I see where you're coming from." Later, the instructor asks the group how they feel about their progress. You say, "I'm in the process of refining my skills, and I'm starting to realize that consistent practice makes everything feel more manageable." The instructor smiles and says, "That's an insightful reflection. You leave the workshop feeling inspired and determined to continue improving. Now repeat these lines from the story. I'm starting to realize how much I've improved." Then repeat, "I'm refining my skills through consistent practice." These sentences reinforce your growth mindset. Now let's add more vocabulary. The word significant means important or meaningful. You can say, "I've made significant progress." Another word is efficient, which means working in a way that saves time or energy. You can say, "I want to find more efficient learning methods." Repeat both words slowly. Using significant and efficient helps you describe your progress with precision. Now, let's practice expressing opinions using advanced structure. Try saying, "In my opinion, staying consistent is the most efficient way to make significant progress." Repeat it. This is the type of sentence native speakers use naturally in discussions and presentations. Let's practice with one more powerful phrase. "I'm learning to trust the process." This means you believe that with time and effort, improvement will come. Say it gently. "I'm learning to trust the process." This phrase is encouraging, calm, and very natural. Use it whenever you feel impatient with your progress. Now, we'll continue with a final speaking exercise. Repeat each sentence after me. "I'm gradually refining my speaking skills." "I see where you're coming from, and I appreciate your perspective." "I'd like to get your thoughts on this." "It occurred to me that confidence grows with practice." "I'm learning to trust the process." Let these sentences settle in your mind. Each one strengthens your fluency and deepens your connection to English. As we continue this masterclass, I want you to notice something subtle but powerful happening inside you. With every sentence you hear and every phrase you practice, English is becoming less of a foreign system to memorize and more of a natural language you can live inside. This shift doesn't happen all at once. It happens gradually, through repeated exposure, deeper understanding, and emotional connection to the language. That's exactly what we're doing here, creating space for your fluency to grow in a calm, natural rhythm. Let your mind absorb the flow of English without worrying about mistakes. Mistakes are not failures. They're simply signs that you're learning something new. Now let's move into another advanced phrase that will make your English sound more natural. "I've come to realize." This expression means you have understood something slowly over time. For example, "I've come to realize that speaking regularly helps more than studying grammar." Try repeating it. "I've come to realize." This phrase is reflective, expressive, and used constantly by fluent speakers. Let's build on that with another expression. The more I. This pattern helps you express cause and effect in a natural, advanced style. For example, "The more I practice speaking, the more confident I feel." Repeat that slowly. Now try another one. "The more I listen to English, the more natural the language becomes." This structure is simple, but extremely powerful. It helps you express growth, progress, and change beautifully. Now let's practice combining these expressions in a daily life sentence. Try saying, I've come to realize that the more I use English in real situations, the more fluent I become. Let it flow naturally. This kind of sentence is something you'll hear native speakers say in conversations about learning, self-improvement, or reflection. Now let's expand your vocabulary with words that help you talk about emotions and change. The word transformative describes something that creates big, meaningful change in your life. You can say, speaking practice has been transformative for my confidence. Another useful word is empowering, which means giving you strength or confidence. Try this sentence. Learning new phrases feels empowering. Repeat it slowly. These words help you express not just what you learn, but how learning affects you emotionally. Let's move into another advanced phrase. It's becoming clear that. This expression helps you share realizations or observations. For example, it's becoming clear that consistency is more important than perfection. Repeat it gently. This phrase helps your speech sound reflective and thoughtful. Now let's place these phrases into context through speaking practice. Imagine someone asks how your English journey is going. You respond, It's becoming clear that the more I practice, the more confident I feel. I've come to realize how transformative daily speaking can be. Repeat both sentences. The structure is natural, expressive, and deeply fluent. Now let's shift into a longer listening exercise. Imagine that you've recently decided to increase your English speaking practice. You start each morning with a simple routine, listening to a short English audio, repeating a few phrases, and narrating small thoughts in your mind. After a week of this, you begin to notice small, but meaningful changes. You feel less hesitant. You speak with a smoother rhythm. You understand longer sentences without translating. One day, during a conversation, you surprise yourself by saying, It's becoming clear that I'm actually getting the hang of this. Your friend smiles and responds, It really shows. In that moment, you feel empowered because you've come to realize that progress doesn't always feel dramatic. Sometimes it feels gentle, steady, and transformative. Now repeat a few lines from this story. I'm actually getting the hang of this. Then repeat, I've come to realize that small habits make a big difference. These lines reinforce your confidence and help you internalize natural English expression. Now let's continue building vocabulary. The word subtle means small or not obvious, but still important. For example, I noticed subtle changes in my fluency. Another useful word is gradual, which describes something that happens slowly over time. You can say, My improvement has been gradual but consistent. Repeat both words, subtle, gradual. These are advanced words that help you describe progress realistically. Let's add another advanced phrase. One thing that stands out to me is. This phrase helps you highlight something important or noticeable. For example, one thing that stands out to me is how natural English feels when I stop overthinking. Repeat it slowly. This phrase is excellent for reflective conversations. Now, let's mix vocabulary and expressions in a short speaking exercise. Try saying, One thing that stands out to me is how transformative consistent practice can be. Now try another sentence. I've come to realize that subtle changes can lead to significant improvement. These sentences sound natural, advanced, and thoughtful, exactly the style fluent speakers use. Now let's deepen your practice with a professional style expression. From what I can tell, this phrase means, based on what I've noticed or observed. Try saying, from what I can tell, I'm becoming more confident. Repeat it softly. This expression is useful in both formal and informal conversations. Now let's build a more complex sentence using this phrase. Try saying, from what I can tell, my listening skills have improved because I'm not translating as much. Repeat it. This helps you train longer sentence structures that feel more natural and fluent. Now let's shift into a new listening story. Imagine you've started participating in English meetings at work. At first, you barely speak because everything feels fast and overwhelming. But over time, you begin to catch phrases, follow discussions, and respond to small questions. One day, you contribute a full idea. Your colleague nods and says, "That's a good point." After the meeting, you take a moment to reflect. You think, from what I can tell, I'm becoming more comfortable expressing myself. This realization makes you smile because the change felt subtle, but the impact was significant. Now repeat these lines. I'm becoming more comfortable expressing myself. Then repeat, from what I can tell, my progress is real. These sentences build confidence and reinforce advanced speaking patterns. Now let's explore more vocabulary you can use daily. The word adaptable means flexible and able to adjust. You can say, I'm trying to be more adaptable in conversations. Another word is articulate, which means able to express yourself clearly. For example, I want to become more articulate when I speak English. Repeat both words slowly, adaptable, articulate. Now let's put them into practice. Imagine someone asks about your English goals. You respond, I want to become more articulate, and I'm trying to be adaptable in different speaking situations. Repeat that gently. This expression helps you sound mature, confident, and intentional. Now let's practice another useful phrase. I'm beginning to feel more at ease. This means you feel more comfortable or relaxed. Try repeating it slowly. I'm beginning to feel more at ease. This phrase will help you express emotional progress in a natural way. Now let's integrate everything into a daily life example. Imagine you're speaking with a friend about your English journey. You say, lately, I'm beginning to feel more at ease when I speak. I've come to realize that the more I practice, the more natural it becomes. Repeat that smoothly. This is exactly how fluent speakers talk about growth. Now let's deepen your listening skills with another story. Imagine you attend a seminar on communication. The speaker discusses clarity, confidence, and articulation. As you listen, you think. One thing that stands out to me is how important it is to express your thoughts clearly. After the seminar, you practice a few sentences quietly to yourself. You say, I want to become more articulate. I'm in the process of refining my speaking skills. The sentences feel strong, confident, and authentic. When someone asks what you thought of the seminar, you respond. It was insightful. It made me realize how subtle changes can lead to significant improvement. Now repeat these lines. It made me realize how subtle changes matter. Then repeat, I'm refining my speaking skills. Let the rhythm flow naturally. Now let's add another advanced phrase. What I've noticed is that this phrase helps you talk about observations. For example, what I've noticed is that speaking out loud helps my fluency. Repeat it. This phrase is smooth, practical, and very natural. Let's expand it into a longer sentence. What I've noticed is that the more I listen to English, the more I understand without trying. Repeat it slowly. This helps you build longer, more fluent thoughts. Now let's practice another daily life expression. I'm making a conscious effort to. This means you are doing something with intention. Try saying, I'm making a conscious effort to practice English every day. Repeat it softly. This phrase is perfect for describing habits and goals. Now let's bring these ideas together in a short speaking prompt. Try saying, what I've noticed is that the more I practice, the more confident I feel. I'm making a conscious effort to improve, and it's becoming clear that it works. Say it again naturally. Now let's move into another detailed listening story. Imagine you are preparing for an important conversation in English, perhaps a job interview, a presentation, or an international meeting. You spend the week practicing. You repeat phrases, improve your pronunciation, refine your sentences, and build your confidence. On the day of the conversation, you feel slightly nervous, but also calm. You sit down, take a breath, and begin speaking. At first, you speak slowly, but gradually, you find your rhythm. You answer questions clearly. You express your thoughts confidently. When the conversation ends, you feel a wave of relief and pride. Later, as you reflect, you think, what I've noticed is that preparation makes me feel more at ease. I've come to realize how powerful consistent practice can be. This experience becomes transformative, helping you trust yourself even more. Now repeat these lines. Preparation helps me feel more at ease. Then repeat. I've come to realize that consistency is transformative. These sentences reinforce your internal belief in your progress. Now let's expand with more advanced vocabulary. The word constructive means helpful or useful, especially in giving feedback. You can say, I appreciate constructive feedback because it helps me improve. Another useful word is deliberate, which means done with careful intention. You can say, I'm being more deliberate with my speaking practice. Repeat, deliberate, constructive. These words help you communicate clearly and thoughtfully. Now let's add an advanced expression for polite disagreement. I see your point, but I'd like to offer a different perspective. Try saying that slowly. This phrase is extremely valuable in professional discussions and polite debates. Let's practice forming a full conversation. Imagine someone says, I think learning grammar is more important than speaking. You respond politely. I see your point, but I'd like to offer a different perspective. Speaking builds confidence and fluency in a more practical way. Repeat it gently. This shows respect, clarity, and advanced communication skills. Now let's practice expressing uncertainty in a fluent way. The phrase, I'm not entirely sure, but, helps you communicate politely when you're unsure. Try saying, I'm not entirely sure, but I think practicing every day is more effective. Repeat it. This phrase softens your tone and makes conversations smoother. Now let's strengthen your pronunciation awareness again. Listen to how these expressions blend naturally. I've come to realize I'm making a conscious effort. What I've noticed is that when native speakers talk, they connect sounds to maintain flow. Practice saying these phrases smoothly, without pausing between words. Now let's shift into emotional vocabulary. The word reassuring means something that makes you feel less worried. You can say, "It's reassuring to see my progress." Another useful word is motivating, which means something that inspires you. You can say, "Listening to English every day is motivating." Repeat both words gently. Now let's imagine another listening scenario. You're speaking with a friend about your English journey. They tell you, "Your improvement is noticeable." Hearing this feels reassuring, and you respond, "That means a lot. I'm making a conscious effort to improve." Your friend smiles and says, "It's really motivating to see someone so determined." You walk away feeling proud and encouraged, thinking, "I've come to realize that support makes the journey easier." Now repeat these lines. "It's reassuring to see my progress." Then repeat, "I'm motivated to keep going." These phrases support your emotional connection to the language. Let's continue with another reflective speaking practice. Repeat each sentence softly. What I've noticed is that I'm becoming more fluent. I've come to realize that improvement takes time. I'm beginning to feel more at ease when I speak. I'm making a conscious effort to stay consistent. It's becoming clear that my hard work is paying off. Let these words settle into your mind. Each one strengthens your identity as an English speaker. As we continue building your fluency, I want you to notice how your relationship with English is slowly shifting. You're not just learning new words or phrases. You're learning how to live in the language, how to respond naturally, how to express yourself with confidence, and how to understand the deeper flow of communication. Every time you listen closely, every time you repeat a phrase softly, every time you imagine yourself speaking in real situations, your fluency grows in ways you may not even notice immediately. These subtle improvements accumulate over time, shaping your English into something smoother and more instinctive. So allow yourself to move through this lesson with calm focus, trusting that every sentence you hear is strengthening your skills. Let's move further with another powerful phrase that you can use in advanced conversations. I'm starting to get a clearer picture of. This expression helps you communicate growing understanding. For example, I'm starting to get a clearer picture of how to express my thoughts in English. Repeat that slowly. This phrase is perfect when you're learning something complex and beginning to understand it better. Now, let's combine that with another expression. It makes a lot of sense when you explain it that way. This is a natural, polite response to someone who has helped you understand something. Try practicing it. It makes a lot of sense when you explain it that way. Using this phrase in conversation shows appreciation and comprehension, and it makes your communication warmer and more collaborative. Now let's create a small speaking exercise. Imagine someone is helping you understand an English concept. You respond, "I'm starting to get a clearer picture of it now. It makes a lot of sense when you explain it that way." Repeat that gently. This is how advanced speakers build smooth conversations. Now let's work with new vocabulary that will elevate your fluency. The word comprehensive describes something complete or detailed. For example, I want to build a comprehensive understanding of English. Another useful word is flexible, which means able to adapt to different situations. You can say, I'm trying to be more flexible with my learning strategies. Repeat both words, comprehensive, flexible. These words help you express complexity and adaptability. Now, let's create a longer, more advanced sentence using both words. Try saying, Oh, I'm trying to develop a comprehensive understanding of English by staying flexible with my learning methods. Repeat it slowly. This type of sentence shows maturity and depth in your communication. Now, let's move into a real-life listening story to help you improve comprehension. Imagine you've signed up for a new English workshop. The instructor begins the session by discussing different approaches to learning. Some methods focus on grammar, some on speaking, some on listening. As you listen, you start to get a clearer picture of what works best for you. The instructor shares a story about a student who improved dramatically by practicing daily conversations. You nod and think. That makes a lot of sense. During the workshop, you participate in a group activity. At first, you hesitate, but gradually, you begin to speak more confidently. When the activity ends, the instructor says, Your participation was excellent. You feel proud and motivated, realizing that being flexible and open-minded makes a huge difference. Now repeat these lines from the story. I'm starting to get a clearer picture of what works for me. Then repeat. Being flexible helps me improve faster. These sentences help you internalize advanced expression. Now, let's introduce another phrase that will help you communicate reflection. One thing I'm beginning to understand is that this phrase is perfect for talking about insights or realizations. Try practicing it slowly. For example, one thing I'm beginning to understand is that fluency comes from consistent practice. Repeat it gently. This expression makes your communication thoughtful and reflective. Now let's expand with emotional vocabulary. The word encouraging describes something that gives you hope or motivation. You can say, It's encouraging to see small improvements. Another useful word is reliable, which means dependable. For example, daily practice is a reliable way to grow your fluency. Repeat these words. Encouraging, reliable. Now, let's place these into context. Imagine you're speaking with a friend who asks about your progress. You respond. It's encouraging to notice small improvements. One thing I'm beginning to understand is that practicing a little every day is a reliable method. Repeat that naturally. Now let's introduce another extremely useful advanced phrase. I've been reflecting on. This expression helps you talk about thoughts you've been considering deeply. For example, I've been reflecting on my speaking habits and how they affect my fluency. Try repeating it slowly. I've been reflecting on. This phrase helps you communicate self-awareness and depth. Now let's build a more complex, natural sentence. Try saying, I've been reflecting on my progress, and I'm beginning to understand what I need to focus on next. Repeat it softly. This is exactly the kind of sentence fluent speakers use when discussing learning or personal growth. Now let's shift into another listening story to help you practice comprehension and rhythm. Imagine you're taking a quiet walk in the evening after a long day. As you walk, you begin reflecting on your English journey. You think about the times you hesitated, the times you felt confident, the moments when you surprised yourself, and the moments when you struggled. As you walk, you say quietly to yourself, "One thing I'm beginning to understand is that progress often feels invisible until suddenly something becomes easier." You breathe in the cool air and feel a sense of calm. You tell yourself, "It's encouraging to see how far I've come." Later, when you get home, you watch a short English video and realize that you understand more than before. You smile and think, "I'm starting to get a clearer picture of what fluency feels like." Now repeat these lines. Progress often feels invisible until it shows. Then repeat, "I'm starting to get a clearer picture of my improvement." These sentences help you strengthen confidence and comprehension. Now let's add new vocabulary to describe change and improvement. The word noticeable means easy to see or observe. You can say, "My improvement is becoming noticeable." Another useful word is substantial, which means large or significant. Try saying, "I've made substantial progress lately." Repeat both words softly. Now let's create example sentences. Try saying, "My listening skills are showing noticeable improvement." Then try, "I've made substantial progress by practicing consistently." These sentences are natural, fluent, and confident. Now let's explore another useful phrase. "I'm gradually becoming more aware of." This phrase helps you communicate growing awareness. Try saying, "I'm gradually becoming more aware of how English sounds in natural speech." Repeat it slowly. This expression is perfect for describing language learning experiences. Now let's place it into a full sentence. Try saying, "I'm gradually becoming more aware of pronunciation patterns and natural intonation." Repeat it naturally. This helps your mind form smooth English pathways. Now let's move into another guided speaking practice. Repeat after me slowly. "I'm gradually becoming more aware of my strengths as a speaker." It's encouraging to see noticeable progress. "I've been reflecting on how my confidence has grown." One thing I'm beginning to understand is that fluency develops over time. It makes a lot of sense when I practice regularly. Say these sentences gently, allowing your voice to follow the rhythm of natural English. Now let's expand with more emotional vocabulary. The word comforting describes something that makes you feel calm or reassured. You can say, "It's comforting to know that improvement is possible." Another useful word is rewarding, which describes something satisfying or fulfilling. For example, "Seeing progress is extremely rewarding." Repeat these words, comforting, rewarding. Now let's incorporate them into natural conversation. Try saying, "It's comforting to know that even small steps lead to fluency." "Seeing progress feels rewarding." Repeat it softly. These expressions help you connect emotionally to your language journey. Now let's shift into another listening story for deeper comprehension. Imagine you've been practicing English consistently for several weeks. You wake up one morning and listen to an English podcast. For the first time, you understand almost everything without needing subtitles. You feel surprised and proud. Later, you meet a friend and talk about your experience. You say, "It's rewarding to see noticeable improvement. I've been reflecting on what made the difference." Your friend asks, "So, what did you find?" You respond, "One thing I'm beginning to understand is that the more I speak out loud, the more natural the language feels. It's comforting to see that effort really works. As you walk home, you feel grateful, encouraged, and determined to keep going. Now repeat these sentences. Speaking out loud makes the language feel natural. Then repeat. Effort really works. Let these lines strengthen your confidence. Now let's move into more advanced vocabulary. The word intentionality refers to doing something with clear purpose. Try saying, intentionality in practice helps me learn faster. Another useful word is implementation, which means putting something into action. Try this. The real challenge is implementing what I learn in conversations. Repeat both words slowly. Intentionality. Implementation. Now, let's create longer sentences. Try saying, I'm practicing with more intentionality, and I'm improving the way I implement new vocabulary. Repeat it carefully. This is exactly how fluent speakers talk about learning strategies. Now let's introduce another advanced phrase. It's becoming increasingly clear that. This phrase helps you emphasize growing clarity. For example, it's becoming increasingly clear that daily practice is essential. Repeat it softly. Now let's build it into a full sentence. Try saying, it's becoming increasingly clear that my confidence grows when I speak without overthinking. Repeat it gently. Now, let's move into a guided speaking exercise using everything we've learned. Say each line softly. I'm starting to get a clearer picture of how to express myself. It's becoming increasingly clear that consistency works. I've been reflecting on my habits and progress. It's rewarding to see substantial improvement. I want to continue practicing with intentionality. Now let's shift into another listening story to deepen your comprehension. Imagine you are attending a virtual English meetup. There are people from different countries, each at different skill levels. At first, you feel a little nervous, but you remind yourself that everyone is learning. The host asks each participant to introduce themselves. When it's your turn, your voice shakes slightly, but you speak anyway. You say, Hi, I'm working on improving my fluency, and I'm starting to get a clearer picture of what helps me grow. The host smiles and says, That's wonderful to hear. As the meeting continues, you participate in small conversations. You use phrases like, It makes a lot of sense, and one thing I'm beginning to understand is. You listen carefully to others and notice your comprehension improving. At the end of the session, the host says, Your participation was strong today. You feel proud and think. It's becoming increasingly clear that showing up consistently is rewarding. Now repeat these lines. Showing up consistently is rewarding. Then repeat, I'm getting a clearer picture of my fluency. These lines help you internalize your growth. Now let's expand with even more vocabulary. The word progressive means happening gradually over time. You can say, language learning is a progressive journey. Another useful word is construct, which means to build or create. You can say, I'm constructing a stronger foundation in English. Repeat both words, progressive, construct. Now let's build example sentences. I'm constructing a more confident speaking style. My fluency improvement feels progressive and natural. Repeat them smoothly. These sentences help you express growth in a sophisticated way. Now, let's continue with a final speaking practice. Say each line softly. What I've noticed is that my progress feels more natural now. I've been reflecting on how rewarding this journey is. I'm gradually becoming more aware of my fluency. It makes a lot of sense to keep practicing daily. I'm constructing a stronger foundation with every lesson. Let these sentences settle into your mind. They strengthen not only your English, but also your confidence and determination. As we continue this masterclass, I want you to feel how each new phrase, each new expression, and each new piece of vocabulary is shaping your fluency from the inside out. You may not notice it moment by moment, but these gradual layers of exposure create deep transformation over time. English starts feeling less like something you study and more like something you naturally breathe in and out. That is the true purpose of long, immersive listening and speaking practice, to create mental patterns that become automatic, comfortable, and instinctive. So let your mind stay relaxed as we move forward. The calmer you are, the more your brain absorbs. Let's continue with another powerful phrase that fluent speakers use often. I'm becoming increasingly aware that. This phrase is perfect when you're talking about realizations that grow stronger over time. Try saying it slowly. I'm becoming increasingly aware that. Now let's complete it with something meaningful. I'm becoming increasingly aware that fluency grows through consistency. Repeat that gently. This expression helps you sound thoughtful, reflective, and confident. Now let's continue by introducing another advanced phrase. It has come to my attention that. This phrase is useful in formal or professional conversations, especially when you want to express that you've noticed something or learned something new. For example, it has come to my attention that many people improve faster when they practice aloud. Repeat the phrase softly. This structure makes your speech sound polished and capable. Let's place both phrases into a short speaking practice. Try saying, I'm becoming increasingly aware that daily practice helps me grow. It has come to my attention that speaking out loud accelerates fluency. Repeat the full passage slowly. These sentences flow naturally and represent real advanced English usage. Now let's deepen your vocabulary. The word reinforce means to strengthen or support something. You can say, practicing every day reinforces my confidence. Another useful word is optimize, which means to make something as effective as possible. For example, I want to optimize my learning routine. Repeat both words. Reinforce, optimize. Let's place them in context. Try saying, speaking regularly reinforces my fluency, and I'm trying to optimize the way I practice. Repeat that gently. This type of sentence demonstrates higher-level communication. Now let's move into a new listening story. Imagine you've been practicing English through conversations, videos, and daily narration. One afternoon, you join a discussion group where participants share their learning experiences. As you listen, someone says, I'm becoming increasingly aware that speaking without fear is the key. You smile because you feel the same. Another participant adds, it has come to my attention that slow, clear practice helps me more than fast conversations. You nod in agreement. When it's your turn to speak, you say, I've been trying to optimize my learning routine, and practicing every morning reinforces my comfort with English. The group listens thoughtfully. After the session ends, One member tells you, "Your contributions were very clear today." Hearing that fills you with pride and motivates you further. Now repeat these lines from the story. Practicing every morning reinforces my comfort. Then repeat. I'm becoming increasingly aware of what works for me. These lines help deepen your fluency patterns. Now let's learn another advanced expression. I'm trying to strike a balance between. This is an extremely natural phrase used to describe dividing time or effort between multiple things. For example, I'm trying to strike a balance between learning new vocabulary and practicing conversation. Repeat it slowly. This phrase will help you express priorities clearly. Now let's combine it with a new vocabulary word, allocate, which means to assign time or resources to something. Try this sentence. I'm trying to strike a balance between work and English practice, so I allocate time each morning to speaking. Repeat it carefully. This is a natural, fluent structure. Now let's continue with more emotional vocabulary. The word fulfilling describes something that gives you satisfaction and meaning. You can say, learning English feels fulfilling. Another useful word is uplifting, which describes something that lifts your mood or spirit. Try saying, positive feedback feels uplifting. Repeat both words softly. Now place them into context. Try saying, my English journey feels fulfilling, and noticing improvement is incredibly uplifting. Repeat that gently. Now let's move into a guided speaking exercise using a new phrase. What I'm aiming for is. This phrase helps you express goals clearly. Try this. What I'm aiming for is natural, confident communication. Repeat it slowly. This phrase is useful when talking about personal goals or professional aspirations. Let's complete it in a longer sentence. What I'm aiming for is natural, confident communication, and I'm becoming increasingly aware that daily practice helps me get there. Repeat the full sentence. It captures intention, awareness, and progress. Now let's continue with vocabulary related to thinking and learning. The word evaluate means to assess or judge something. You can say, I evaluate my progress every week. Another useful word is adjustment, which means a small change to improve something. For example, I make small adjustments to my learning routine. Repeat both words. Evaluate. Adjustment. Now place them together in a natural sentence. I evaluate my progress regularly and make small adjustments to improve my fluency. Repeat it carefully. Now, let's shift into another listening story. Imagine you have been practicing English consistently for months. Each week, you evaluate your habits and make adjustments. One day, during a conversation with a coworker, you suddenly realize that you're speaking more naturally than before. You respond quickly, smoothly, and confidently. After the conversation, you think to yourself, what I'm aiming for is starting to feel more real. Later that evening, while reflecting on your progress, you say, I'm trying to strike a balance between learning and practicing, and it's becoming increasingly clear that these small adjustments are helping. The realization feels fulfilling and uplifting. Now repeat these lines. These small adjustments are helping. Then repeat. What I'm aiming for is becoming real. These lines reinforce growth and clarity. Now let's add another advanced phrase. I'm gradually learning to navigate. This expression helps you talk about moving through new or challenging situations. Try repeating it. I'm gradually learning to navigate. Now complete it with something meaningful. I'm gradually learning to navigate more complex conversations. Repeat it softly. Now let's pair that with a new vocabulary word, intricate, which means detailed or complex. For example, intricate sentences are becoming easier to understand. Repeat the word slowly, intricate. Now try the full sentence. I'm gradually learning to navigate intricate conversations with more ease. Repeat it naturally. Now let's explore another advanced phrase. I'm beginning to internalize. This means you're starting to absorb something deeply, so it becomes automatic. Try saying, I'm beginning to internalize natural English rhythm. Repeat it gently. Internalization is key to fluency, and this phrase helps you express that. Now let's combine it with another deep vocabulary word, foundation, meaning the base of something. For example, I'm building a strong foundation for my communication skills. Repeat it slowly. Now combine the two ideas. I'm beginning to internalize essential structures and build a strong foundation for fluency. Repeat the full sentence. This kind of expression shows deep progress. Now let's move into a longer listening story. Imagine you're sitting in a cafe with your notebook. You're reviewing new phrases, writing down expressions, and practicing them quietly. As you repeat each phrase, you feel yourself internalizing the rhythm. At one point, you hear a conversation behind you. Two people speaking quickly in natural English. Surprisingly, you understand most of what they're saying. You smile quietly and think, I'm gradually learning to navigate real conversations. You write in your notebook, it's becoming increasingly clear that I'm improving. Later, while walking home, you reflect, what I'm aiming for feels closer every day. The thought fills you with warmth and confidence. Now repeat these lines. I'm gradually learning to navigate real conversations. Then repeat, I'm beginning to internalize natural speech. These statements deepen your progress. Now let's expand with more vocabulary. The word refinement means small improvements that make something better. You can say, my speaking needs some refinement. Another word is momentum, which means forward movement or progress. You can say, I'm gaining momentum in my learning. Repeat both words. Refinement, momentum. Now build a natural sentence. My fluency is gaining momentum as I continue refining my speaking skills. Repeat it slowly. Now let's introduce another advanced expression. I'm gradually piecing together. This phrase means you're slowly understanding how different parts connect. Try saying it. I'm gradually piecing together. Now complete it. I'm gradually piecing together how English expressions fit into real conversations. Repeat it gently. Now let's place that into a longer, advanced sentence. I'm gradually piecing together how rhythm, pronunciation, and expression create natural communication. Repeat it slowly. Now let's deepen your fluency with another listening story. Imagine you're practicing English shadowing exercises, repeating short sentences after a speaker. At first, it feels challenging, but slowly, you find your flow. You hear yourself speaking with clearer pronunciation and smoother pacing. You think, I'm gaining momentum. As you keep practicing, you notice subtle improvements, words blending more naturally, sentences forming more quickly, confidence rising steadily. Later, while writing in your journal, you write, "I'm piecing together the foundation of real fluency. It's becoming increasingly clear that everything is connecting. This realization feels empowering. Now repeat these lines. Everything is connecting." Then repeat, "I'm gaining momentum with every practice session." These lines help you absorb the deeper message. Now, let's continue with a final speaking practice. Repeat each line softly and naturally. "I'm becoming increasingly aware of how my fluency is growing. I'm trying to strike a balance in my learning routine. I've been reflecting on what helps me improve the most. I'm gradually learning to navigate complex conversations. I'm gaining momentum and building a stronger foundation every day." Let these lines settle into your mind as your fluency takes deeper root. As we move further of today's masterclass, I want you to notice how much more naturally English is beginning to flow through you. You've been listening, repeating, visualizing, absorbing, and slowly shaping the structure of fluent communication inside your mind. These long-form practices are powerful because they give your brain time to settle into the rhythm of the language, without rushing, without pressure, and without forcing anything. Fluency grows through gentle consistency, and you're building that consistency right here, right now. You're not just learning English, you're learning how to feel English, how to inhabit it, and how to let it move through your thoughts and conversations. Let's continue this journey together, step by step, word by word. Let's continue with a very natural advanced phrase. I'm starting to grasp the idea that this phrase is helpful when you're beginning to understand a complex concept or noticing something about your learning process. Try saying it slowly. I'm starting to grasp the idea that. Now let's complete it. I'm starting to grasp the idea that fluency develops through real-life usage. Repeat it gently. This phrase reflects mental progress and deeper understanding. Now, let's introduce another powerful expression. It's slowly sinking in that. This phrase describes understanding that gradually becomes clearer over time. For example, it's slowly sinking in that I don't need perfect grammar to communicate clearly. Repeat it softly. This sentence brings relief, honesty, and confidence. Let's combine both expressions in a natural conversation-style practice. Try saying, I'm starting to grasp the idea that practice matters more than perfection, and it's slowly sinking in that confidence comes from using the language. Repeat that smoothly. Notice how the sentences feel mature and expressive. Now let's expand your vocabulary with two advanced words. The word consistent refers to something done regularly without stopping. You can say, I'm trying to stay consistent with my practice. Another useful word is breakthrough, which refers to a big moment of progress. For example, I recently had a breakthrough in my listening skills. Repeat both words, consistent, breakthrough. Now let's integrate them into a natural sentence. Try saying, staying consistent eventually leads to breakthroughs in fluency. Repeat that slowly. Now let's shift into an immersive listening story. Imagine you have been practicing English faithfully every day, sometimes for long sessions, sometimes for only 10 minutes, but always consistently. One day, you sit down to watch an English video without subtitles, expecting to understand only a little. But to your surprise, You understand almost everything. You pause the video, smile, and think, I think I just had a breakthrough. As the day goes on, you keep replaying that moment in your mind. Later, you tell a friend. It's slowly sinking in that consistency truly works. The realization fills you with warmth, motivation, and a deep sense of accomplishment. Now repeat these lines. I think I just had a breakthrough. Then repeat. It's slowly sinking in that consistency works. These lines build both confidence and clarity. Now, let's introduce another expression often used by advanced speakers. I'm making noticeable progress in. You can complete it with anything related to your learning. Try saying, I'm making noticeable progress in understanding natural speech. Repeat it gently. Now let's add two more advanced vocabulary words. The word immersive means deeply engaging. You can say, immersive practice helps me learn faster. Another useful word is spontaneous, which means unplanned or natural. For example, I'm learning to respond more spontaneously in conversations. Repeat both words softly. Now, let's combine them in context. Try saying, immersive listening helps me respond more spontaneously in real conversations. Repeat it slowly. These sentences help you speak with confidence and maturity. Now let's continue with another speaking exercise using the phrase, I'm beginning to feel confident enough to. Try repeating it. I'm beginning to feel confident enough to. Now complete it. I'm beginning to feel confident enough to join English conversations without overthinking. Repeat that slowly. This expression communicates growth and emotional progress. Now let's place this into a longer, more advanced sentence. Try saying, I'm beginning to feel confident enough to participate spontaneously, and that feels incredibly empowering. Repeat it gently. Notice how natural it feels. Now let's shift into another listening story to strengthen comprehension. Imagine you're participating in a group conversation for the first time. At first, you feel shy and unsure. But as the conversation continues, you begin to notice familiar expressions. You listen actively. Your heart beats faster as you prepare to speak. Then, without overthinking, you share a short comment. Everyone listens and responds positively. After the conversation, you think, I'm beginning to feel confident enough to express myself in real time. That realization feels like a milestone, subtle but powerful. Now repeat these lines. I can express myself in real time. Then repeat. I'm beginning to feel more confident. These lines support emotional fluency. Now let's add more advanced vocabulary. The word persuade means to convince someone. You can say, I'm learning how to persuade others using clear language. Another word is articulation, which refers to speaking clearly and expressing ideas effectively. You can say, my articulation is improving. Repeat both words, persuade, articulation. Now let's create a natural sentence using both. Try saying, clear articulation makes it easier to persuade others in discussions. Repeat it gently. Now let's learn another phrase. I'm becoming more comfortable with the idea of. This phrase helps you express acceptance or growing comfort. Try repeating it. I'm becoming more comfortable with the idea of. Now complete it. I'm becoming more comfortable with the idea of speaking English publicly. Repeat it slowly. This shows emotional growth. Now let's expand it in a longer sentence. Try saying, I'm becoming more comfortable with the idea of expressing myself openly. Even if my English isn't perfect, repeat that gently. Fluent speakers express vulnerability in this way all the time. Now let's shift into a guided reflection story. Imagine you're sitting at your desk, practicing English pronunciation. At first, you feel embarrassed speaking aloud, even when you're alone, but slowly, the hesitation fades. With each repetition, you're becoming more comfortable with the idea of speaking confidently. One evening, you record your voice and notice that your articulation has improved. You whisper to yourself, "I'm making noticeable progress." The realization feels reassuring and uplifting. You begin to feel more hopeful, more determined, and more connected to your fluency journey. Now repeat these lines. I'm making noticeable progress. Then repeat, I'm becoming more comfortable with speaking. These sentences reinforce the emotional side of fluency. Now let's introduce more vocabulary to deepen your expression. The word clarify means to make something clear. You can say, I asked my teacher to clarify the meaning. Another word is refocus, which means to concentrate again. You can say, I need to refocus on speaking practice. Repeat both words slowly. Clarify. Refocus. Now let's build an advanced sentence. Try saying, I'm trying to refocus my efforts and clarify what I need to improve. Repeat it gently. This type of expression is useful in professional and academic conversations. Now let's learn another phrase. It's becoming evident that. This means something is becoming clear or obvious. Try saying it slowly. It's becoming evident that. Now complete it. It's becoming evident that daily exposure strengthens fluency. Repeat it. Now let's place it in a longer sentence. Try saying, it's becoming evident that consistent practice and immersive listening are shaping my English in powerful ways. Repeat gently. Now let's move into another listening story to support deep comprehension. Imagine you're sitting in a library, reading an English book. At first, you have to look up some words, but eventually, you start understanding whole paragraphs without stopping. You run your finger slowly along the page, feeling proud. Later, someone asks how your learning is going. You respond, it's becoming evident that my reading skills are improving. I'm starting to grasp the idea that exposure builds familiarity. You continue reading with renewed motivation, knowing that you're building fluency with every hour of practice. Now repeat these lines. Exposure builds familiarity. Then repeat. It's becoming evident that I'm improving. These lines strengthen internal awareness. Now let's add new vocabulary to broaden your communication skills. The word refinement refers to polishing or improving something. For example, my pronunciation needs refinement. Another word, alignment, refers to agreement or harmony. You can say, my goals are becoming more aligned with my methods. Repeat both words, refinement, alignment. Now let's create a natural sentence. Try saying, I'm working on the refinement of my speaking skills, and I'm aligning my habits with my goals. Repeat it slowly. Now let's learn another powerful expression. One thing that has become increasingly clear is that this is excellent for summarizing insights. Try practicing it. One thing that has become increasingly clear is that. Now complete it. One thing that has become increasingly clear is that fluency grows through repetition. Repeat it gently. Now let's place that into a longer, natural sentence. Try saying, one thing that has become increasingly clear is that listening and speaking regularly create lasting improvement. Repeat it slowly. Now let's shift into another immersive listening story. Imagine you are practicing shadowing, repeating English sentences a few seconds after you hear them. At first, the exercise feels difficult, but soon, your tongue relaxes, your rhythm syncs with the speaker, and you start to enjoy it. You think to yourself, one thing that has become increasingly clear is that repetition works. Later, you join a conversation with a friend and speak more naturally than ever before. Your friend says, I didn't realize how fluent you've become. Hearing that fills your heart with pride. You walk home feeling grateful, encouraged, and motivated to continue. You whisper to yourself, it's slowly sinking in that I'm improving. Even when I don't notice it immediately, the confidence feels real. Now repeat these lines. Repetition works. Then repeat. It's slowly sinking in that I'm getting better. Let these lines settle into your mind. Now let's expand your vocabulary further. The word transition refers to moving from one state to another. You can say, I'm transitioning from basic to advanced English. Another word is competence, which means skill or ability. For example, I'm building competence through practice. Repeat both words. Transition, competence. Now create a longer sentence. Try saying, I'm transitioning into more advanced levels of competence, and it feels empowering. Repeat it gently. Now let's practice with another phrase. I'm finally beginning to trust myself when. Complete it naturally. I'm finally beginning to trust myself when speaking in conversations. Repeat it slowly. This expression shows emotional growth and pride. Now let's place it into a fluent sentence. I'm finally beginning to trust myself when speaking, and that confidence is opening new opportunities. Repeat gently. Now, let's continue with a final speaking practice. Repeat each line slowly, letting the rhythm feel natural. I'm starting to grasp the idea that fluency grows through use. It's slowly sinking in that consistency is powerful. I'm making noticeable progress every week. I'm becoming more comfortable with expressing myself. One thing that has become increasingly clear is that I'm improving. Let these sentences settle inside you. Each repetition strengthens your fluency from within. As we continue this masterclass, I want you to feel the depth of your progress. You may not always see it clearly, but it's there, in the way sentences form more naturally, in the way expressions feel familiar, in the way your confidence has begun to expand quietly within you. Fluency rarely announces itself loudly. It grows in the background, through everyday listening, through small speaking moments, through gentle repetition. And what you're doing right now, spending time with long, immersive English, is one of the most powerful ways to build real, lasting fluency. So let your mind stay open and relaxed as we move forward. You're allowing English to become part of your inner voice, and that transformation is incredibly meaningful. Let's continue with a useful advanced phrase. I'm starting to notice subtle improvements in. Repeat that slowly. I'm starting to notice subtle improvements in. Now complete it. I'm starting to notice subtle improvements in my speaking confidence. Repeat it gently. This phrase is soft, reflective, and very natural. Now let's add another expression. I never realized how much it helps to. Try repeating it. I never realized how much it helps to. Now complete it. I never realized how much it helps to speak aloud, even when I'm alone. Repeat softly. These two expressions help you talk about your learning discoveries in a natural, advanced way. Now let's combine them in a longer sentence. Try saying, I'm starting to notice subtle improvements in my fluency, and I never realized how much it helps to practice aloud regularly. Repeat that at a comfortable pace. Now let's introduce new vocabulary that strengthens your ability to express emotional and mental growth. The word accustomed means familiar or used to something. You can say, I'm becoming accustomed to thinking in English. Another word is proactive, which means taking action before problems happen. You can say, I'm trying to be more proactive in my learning. Repeat both words slowly. Accustomed. Proactive. Now create a natural sentence using both. I'm becoming more accustomed to English, and I'm taking a proactive approach to my practice. Repeat that. Now let's move into a listening story to deepen comprehension. Imagine you're walking home after a long day. As you walk, you play an English audio in your headphones. At first, you only want to listen passively, but soon, you start whispering some phrases along with the speaker. You feel your tongue relaxing, your voice becoming clearer, your rhythm becoming smoother. You think to yourself, I'm becoming accustomed to speaking naturally. Later, when you get home, you look in the mirror, smile softly, and whisper, I never realized how much it helps to speak aloud, even in tiny moments. That realization feels empowering and comforting at the same time. Now repeat these lines. I'm becoming accustomed to natural English. Then repeat. Speaking aloud helps more than I realized. These lines reinforce confidence and awareness. Now, let's introduce another advanced expression. I'm gradually recognizing that. Repeat it slowly. I'm gradually recognizing that. Now complete it. I'm gradually recognizing that fluency grows from meaningful practice, not perfection. Repeat it gently. Now let's add two advanced vocabulary words. The word interpret means to understand or explain the meaning of something. You can say, I'm learning how to interpret complex sentences. Another word is adaptation, which means changing something to fit a new situation. You can say, my brain is going through adaptation as I learn English. Repeat both words softly. Interpret. Adaptation. Now place them into a natural sentence. I'm gradually recognizing that my ability to interpret English is improving through constant adaptation. Repeat that gently. Now let's create a speaking prompt. Imagine someone asks how you feel about your progress. You respond, I'm gradually recognizing that small habits make a big difference, and my mind is adapting every day. Repeat that, slowly. Now let's move into a new listening story for deeper emotional engagement. Imagine you're sitting at a cafe with a warm drink in your hands. You open a book in English and begin reading slowly. At first, you stumble on a few words, but as you continue, you begin interpreting the meaning more quickly. You whisper quietly, I'm gradually recognizing how much easier this is becoming. A soft feeling of pride flows through you. You take a breath and smile. Later, you message a friend and say, I never realized how much progress comes from small, consistent steps. This reflection strengthens your motivation and helps you trust your journey even more. Now repeat these lines. Progress comes from small, consistent steps. Then repeat, I'm adapting and growing. These sentences support emotional connection and clarity. Now let's expand your vocabulary with two expressive words. The word resonate means something feels meaningful or emotionally connected to you. You can say, this method really resonates with me. Another word is breakthrough, which we used earlier. But now let's connect it in new contexts. For example, this lesson led to a breakthrough in my understanding. Repeat both words. Resonate. Breakthrough. Now create a natural sentence. Hearing real conversations resonates with me, and sometimes it leads to breakthroughs I didn't expect. Repeat it gently. Now let's explore another advanced phrase. I'm becoming more aware of the patterns in. Repeat. I'm becoming more aware of the patterns in. Now complete it. I'm becoming more aware of the patterns in natural English speech. Repeat it quietly. Now, let's place that phrase into context. Try saying, I'm becoming more aware of the patterns in pronunciation, and it's helping me speak more confidently. Repeat it at a slow pace. Now let's shift into another listening story to strengthen comprehension. Imagine you're listening to a group of native speakers having a conversation online. At first, it feels fast, but as you keep listening, certain patterns begin standing out. You begin recognizing repeated expressions, common rhythms, and familiar tones. You whisper softly, I'm becoming more aware of the patterns. For the first time, you feel like the language is opening itself to you, and with that realization, something inside you relaxes, as if English is no longer something outside of you, but something you're slowly growing into. Now repeat these lines. The patterns are becoming clearer. Then repeat. The language feels more familiar. These lines help you internalize your progress. Now let's introduce new vocabulary, retain, which means to remember or keep information. You can say, I retain vocabulary better when I use it in conversation. Another word is gradualism, which refers to slow, steady progress. You can say, language learning requires gradualism. Repeat, retain, gradualism. Now let's form a natural sentence. I retain words better through gradualism and everyday practice. Repeat it slowly. Now let's practice another advanced expression. I'm slowly reshaping the way I. Try repeating it slowly. I'm slowly reshaping the way I. Now complete it. I'm slowly reshaping the way I think in English. Repeat it gently. This expression helps you talk about deep mental changes. Now let's combine it with a reflective tone. Try saying, I'm slowly reshaping the way I understand conversations, and it feels empowering. Repeat it naturally. Now let's strengthen listening through another story. Imagine you're having a simple conversation with a friend in English. At first, you feel nervous, but then something surprising happens. The conversation flows smoothly. You form sentences quickly, respond with confidence, and even use some advanced expressions without thinking too much. After the conversation, you reflect on the moment. You whisper to yourself, I'm slowly reshaping the way I think, and it's becoming easier. You feel a wave of relief and happiness, realizing that all your practice is paying off. Now repeat these lines. It's becoming easier to think in English. Then repeat, I'm reshaping my communication style. These lines help reinforce mental fluency. Now let's add more vocabulary. The word cultivate means to develop or grow something over time. You can say, I'm trying to cultivate better speaking habits. Another word is persistence, which means continuing even when things are difficult. You can say, persistence is essential for fluency. Repeat both words, cultivate, persistence. Now combine them naturally. I'm cultivating confidence through persistence. Repeat it slowly. Now let's introduce a new phrase. I'm beginning to identify what works best for me. Try repeating it slowly. Now complete it. I'm beginning to identify what works best for me in terms of practice and learning style. Repeat gently. Now let's place this into context. Imagine you've tried different learning methods, videos, listening practice, speaking exercises, reading, shadowing, and slowly, you realize which ones help you the most. You say, I'm beginning to identify what works best for me, and that clarity feels empowering. Now repeat these lines. I know what works best for me. Then repeat, I'm gaining clarity in my learning. These lines deepen awareness. Now let's shift into another listening story. Imagine you're practicing speaking with an online partner. You both take turns sharing stories, asking questions, and correcting each other gently. During the session, you catch yourself using advanced phrases without hesitation. You say, I never realized how much this helps. Your partner nods and replies, practice really shapes your fluency. After the session ends, you sit quietly and reflect. You whisper, I'm beginning to identify what works best for me. This kind of practice resonates deeply. You feel grateful, encouraged, and connected to your journey. Now let's expand your vocabulary with two more advanced words. The word coherence means logical flow or clarity. You can say, my sentences are gaining coherence. Another word is precision, which means accuracy. You can say, I'm aiming for more precision in my speaking. Repeat both words slowly. Coherence, precision. Now combine them. I'm learning to express myself with more coherence and precision. Repeat it naturally. Now, let's introduce a final phrase. I'm starting to trust the process more deeply. Repeat it slowly. Now complete it. I'm starting to trust the process more deeply, and I can feel myself transforming. Repeat that gently. Now let's integrate everything into one final reflective speaking practice. Say each line softly. I'm starting to notice subtle improvements in my fluency. I'm becoming accustomed to thinking naturally in English. I'm gradually recognizing what truly helps me improve. I'm reshaping the way I understand and express myself. I'm starting to trust the process more deeply every day. Let these sentences sink deeply into your mind. They reflect the truth of where you are and the growth you're experiencing. Thanks so much for staying with me through this entire masterclass. Truly, your dedication, your patience, and your consistency show how committed you are to improving your English. And I want you to know that your time here hasn't just been time spent listening. It has been time invested in transforming the way you think, process, and express yourself in English. Every phrase you repeated, every sentence you absorbed, every moment you allowed yourself to slow down and follow the rhythm of the language has been shaping your fluency in powerful ways. Learning a language isn't just about remembering vocabulary. It's about building a connection with the language inside your mind. And that's exactly what you've been doing throughout this long, immersive session. As we come to the end of this lesson, I want you to take a quiet moment and appreciate how far you've come. Notice how much more natural English feels after spending this much time listening closely. Notice how your mind starts anticipating sentence patterns, how your tongue relaxes with longer expressions, how your confidence feels just a little stronger than before. These are signs that your brain is internalizing the language. The truth is, fluency never arrives all at once. It doesn't appear suddenly or dramatically. It grows quietly, gradually, from moments just like this: long, focused listening, soft repetition, meaningful practice, and emotional engagement. And you've done that. You've shown up. You've stayed consistent. You've allowed English to settle into your thinking, and that is something to be proud of. Before we finish, repeat these final reflection lines softly with me. I'm proud of the progress I've made. I trust the process more every day. I'm becoming more confident in expressing myself. I'm ready to continue growing and practicing. I believe in my ability to become fluent. Let these words settle deeply into your mind. They are not just sentences. They are reminders of who you are becoming. And now, as we prepare to end this lesson, I want to leave you with something important. You are not learning English alone. Even though this video might feel like a private moment between you and your screen, it is also part of a much bigger journey. Each time you return, each time you practice, each time you listen and speak, you are building a future version of yourself who communicates with ease, with clarity, and with natural confidence. That version of you already exists inside you. And every day, with every lesson, you're moving closer and closer to it. So keep this feeling with you. Carry it into your next practice session. Remember that fluency doesn't require perfection. It requires presence, patience, and persistence. And you have all of those qualities. You've shown them here. Thank you so much for spending your time with me today. Thank you for your trust, your focus, and your willingness to grow. I'm truly proud of you. And if you want more long, immersive English learning lessons like this, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on the notifications so you never miss a new episode. We upload daily lessons to support your listening, speaking, and overall fluency journey. And I would love to continue helping you improve step by step. Until our next lesson together, keep practicing, stay consistent, stay confident, and remember that every small step brings you closer to becoming the fluent English speaker you want to be. Take care, keep learning, and I will see you again very soon.